Hi, and welcome to the Be Courageous Summit. My name is Tracy Tadero. I'm a self-love mentor and life coach. And my intentions for this summit are to provide encouragement and support and valuable information and priceless information to all of our viewers out there. So today we have a fantastic guest. So honored to have him here. Keith Ferrazzi is the founder and CEO of Ferrazzi Greenlight, a management consulting and team coaching company that works with many of the world's biggest corporations. A graduate of the Harvard Business School, Ferrazzi rose to become the youngest CMO of a Fortune 500 company during his career at Deloitte. How do you say that?
Deloitte.
Deloitte, thank you. I should have asked you that earlier. And later became CMO of Starwood Hotels. He's a frequent contributor to Harvard Business Review, Forbes, and Fortune, and the #1 New York Times bestselling author of Who's Got Your Back and Never Eat Alone. His mission is to transform teams and individuals to help them transform the world. Welcome, Keith. Thank you for joining us.
Tracy, what an audacious introduction. So it's great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So as we were just kind of starting out talking before we went live or on record here, let's talk about pivots we've had to make in our world since this pandemic has come about. And, what can you share about a pivot that you've made in your life, in your career?
Well, I've made a number, but certainly one that's just happened recently. And I think, look, at any opportunity in our lives when we're facing stress and turmoil, we do have choices, even though it doesn't feel like we do, because we've got the momentum of the past that is so strong, the history, the direction we're going, that we feel that when something blocks that path, there's nowhere we can go, right? Now, I have a personal belief that when that occurs, one of the greatest assets and resources that we have available to us have been sitting around us all the time. It's other people, right? One of the most important things that I'd like, your audience to recognize is that being courageous isn't a lone affair. It's an affair. It's a word in my new book that I call co-elevating, going higher together. And very much is the community you're trying to put together here, right? Mm-hmm. So from my perspective, when I was very young, my old man was an unemployed steel worker. My mom was a cleaning lady. And right in the middle of the 70s, the steel industry collapsed in Pennsylvania, and everything that we knew disintegrated. We were, ran out of unemployment insurance. The government gave us welfare cheese as the only protein option. And it was interesting. It was I was a caddy at the time. I had to go earn $1, so I went to the local country club. I was a caddy at the time, and there was a woman named Mrs. Poland, who was the best golfer at the country club, who I happened to meet when I was there. And she opened up an entire new world to me. Now, she'd asked me, she badgered me, what do you want to do with your life, Keith? What do you want to do with your life? And at that point, I just wanted to make $20 that day and bring it home to my folks, And after a while, she just badgered me. And I said, well, you know what? And a lot of immigrant families are this way. My dad says that if I work really hard and I study really hard and I'm a good person, that I can do anything. Like I could be president of the United States someday. And she didn't laugh, which I thought she would. By the way, little did we know anybody can be president of the United States. But anyway, but at the time, you know what she did? 2 weeks later, she had the local congressman in her foursome. Right? I mean, here was a situation where my family was destitute. We absolutely had no money. And I had a dream. And this woman opened up an entire world to me. Now, you have to ask why she did that. And I think this is the lesson I want to bring to your listening audience. A couple of lessons here. My dad used to say to me, Keith, show up at the golf course a half an hour early. I didn't quite understand that because nobody was there. But what I found was that what he was basically saying is, be audacious, be bold, be at the front of the line. Right? And the fact that I was there at the golf course a half an hour early, I noticed things like where the pins were placed and whatever, and I was able to give better information to my golfer. But because I showed up so generously and I busted my butt and I was the best caddy possible, it opened up possibility with this woman that she wanted to help me. in times like this, when we're suffering, in times like this, when we see bleakness and darkness and no opportunity, the pathway is going to be through other people. But other people are seeing similar things. You've got to lead not with requests, but with generosity. So for us right now, as we look at pivots in our life, the lesson is this. The pivot that's in front of you that you haven't even discovered yet, you're going to discover with and through a group of individuals. It's your team. And your team doesn't even know yet that you're their leader, right? You need to reach out to them with generosity and compassion and vulnerability and authenticity and being there. The more you're there for these people, the more they want to be there for you. And that's the key. That's the opportunity. And any pivot I made, the pivot I made from my youth and life, and to go from a family that had nobody ever in college to the first graduate of 2 Ivy League schools to all the success I've had, that was a pivot. And so is today, what you and I are going through today. It's a pivot, but I'm not doing it myself. I'm doing it with a tribe of co-elevating individuals committed to going higher together.
Thank you. And that's exactly it. It's like, we are not alone. We think we may be alone, but we're not. And we are surrounded by people who we can access. And whether you're in the corporate world, right, or in your own personal world, there is a tribe around waiting to connect and help build each other up so we can all rise. And I love that co-elevate.
Yeah, and the key to activating, accessing and activating is generosity, finding ways to serve other people, pulling the group together and saying, hey, we together need to figure out what's next. We together need to figure out where opportunity is. We together, and we'll support each other. We'll lift each other up. There's a number of attributes of co-elevation. One of them is the relational underpinning, that sense of support for each other, the commitment for each other. But also it's butt kicking, right? We'll make sure we get out of bed in the morning. We'll make sure that we tell each other the damn truth. I mean, these are the things we need right now to be courageous in our lives, right? We need bold actors around us, helping us see a path forward that we're not able to see ourselves. Now, it's probably easier for us to help another person than it is for us to be helped ourselves. That's why we need this co-elevating group together. And that's why I'm so excited that my book's coming out this week. I mean, it's out, and I'm so excited because it's a perfect book for a time of reinvention and transformation.
And that's not just for corporate individuals, it's for anybody.
No, everything here. Look, the book is, I brought a copy of it. The book is called Leading Without Authority. Leading Without Authority. And there are so many people today that are displaced from the roles that they had. There are people today that are struggling with furloughs. There's people today, entrepreneurs struggling to make payroll. There's single solopreneurs trying to not seeing their market available to them. All of this, it's time to pivot. It's time to see new opportunity. It's time to reinvent. And you have to create your team. That's chapter 1. Who's your team? Who's your team? And your team doesn't report to you. Your team is the people that you need to work with to achieve transformation. And it's iterative, and you add people. And the thing is, you're not adding people to report to you. You're not adding people to follow you. You're adding people to co-create with you, right? You're adding people to not your team, you're adding them to their team. It's a co-creation. It's this co-elevating group going to crack the code together. And that might be your employees, that might be your suppliers, your vendors, your clients. I mean, there's so many people waiting to have somebody with courage help to lead with them. And that could be any of us.
So when you say leading without authority, I think that throws people off, right? Because they're like, what do you mean without authority? Like, I need to be authoritative to be a leader. People aren't going to look up to me and respect me. And you're taking a different stance with that, which is open.
Well, I wrote a book a number of years ago that many people know. It's called Never Eat Alone. Mm-hmm. Never Eat Alone. And Never Eat Alone was the journey of a young boy from Pittsburgh, sitting at his dad's table who was unemployed from the steel mill, to a world where, because of people like this woman at the country club, because of professors and mentors and friends up along the way, my life has been extraordinary, just extraordinary, what I've been able to witness and achieve and support and serve. And what was interesting, it's all about working through a network to achieve great things. Well, leadership today is just that. Because if you want to be extraordinary, you can't just rely on the resources that you control. No company today has enough resources to be as big as you need to be. So we were talking about pivots. So I traditionally served large organizations, right? So, one of the largest airlines in the world, I'm coaching that team through transformation. One of the largest automotive companies in the world, I'm coaching that team through transformation. And when this happened, I just stepped back and I said, now is the time to continue to nurture that business, but to reinvent, right? It's like, I feel like the world put pause for me to get my stuff together, right? And that new business I decided was going to be a business where I took all the insights that I had and bring them out to the world, to every person, every entrepreneur, every solopreneur, from a yoga instructor to, a cleaner to a $10 million software firm, right? I wanted to bring those lessons. And I started sort of designing a set of information products. And I started imagining the person that I wanted to coach sitting in front of me. And in front of a camera, I started coaching them, just like I would through a series of video vignettes and 10-minute video vignettes, right? And I've had an extraordinary time of this, and it's been amazing. I've had all the time. I've got this amazing setup. I hope you like my camera and my video and my glowing orb in the back, and all of these things. I've gone totally professional, but I've had the time to do it. The world has paused, and it looks like the world might be pausing a little longer. So my question to those watching is, what are you doing with this time? How are you reinventing? And don't try to do it yourself. You're bigger than that. And you see how I said, you're bigger than to have to do it yourself. You have such potential that the only way for you to fulfill your potential is if there's a broad group of individuals supporting that and supporting you, and you supporting them and supporting each other. You can do something grand, truly grand.
That's such a great message. And I know the viewers need to hear that. That is, because everybody just needing that encouragement, right? And
yes.
A wake-up call, like you let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. And let's do it together, right?
Yeah.
So the first step is, you got to figure out some direction. You don't even have to. I mean, like I said, I'm sure those of you might say, what could I do? And I don't even know. Maybe your first meeting with this group of individuals, this co-elevating group, is only 2 people. And the question is, what could we do? What could we do? What could we do next? How do we pivot? I mean, make that I call that a co-creation session, right? It's a collaborative discussion. And there's little tools, by the way, just to make sure that everybody gets, a fair share of the time. You could spend 5 minutes talking about what you've been thinking for you. Then invite the other people, even if it's just 2 people, to pepper you with questions. Because getting questions is a much better way to reveal truth than getting direction. Like, if I were to say to you, do this, you'd be like, okay, interesting. But if I ask you a series of questions, and through those questions, you awaken to something that you want to do for yourself, that's much more powerful. So you pose your struggle, you pose your challenge, you pose your idea, let the group pepper you with questions. And then once you've answered all the questions, then give them a shot of a couple of minutes to give you very direct advice, including get off your butt, you're lazy, you shouldn't be, like whatever it takes, because they love you and you trust them. And I call that a 5-5-5. 5 minutes to state the challenge, 5 minutes of questions, 5 minutes of directive advice. Then you go to the next person and you do 5-5-5, right? This is a co-creation. It's unleashing collaboration among the people you work with, or among the people that you know. The problem is, so often among the people we know or the teams we lead, we just sit around and kvetch. We just bitch about stuff, or we bemoan things, but like, I want you to be activated. I want you to be activated, moving with progress to an outcome, right? And so that whole idea of co-creation is just such a critical, important piece. The other thing is I want, in leading with authority, I give you a set of rules to follow, like full candor. You cannot have placating, glad-handing friends who will just tell you what you want to hear.
Right.
Not like times like now.
Yeah.
You need to have people tell you the truth exactly when you don't want to hear it. And that's a part of the message that you really need to hear right now. Anyway, I'm going off. There's so many, like I really believe that this is an opportunity for people to, there may be financial debt that we have right now because of the crap that's going on, but I think you can retire strategic debt. You could retire dream debt and really achieve the dreams you want. You can retire operational debt, get your operations more, clean and clear than ever before. I bet everybody who's watching has got a cleaner junk drawer today than ever before, right? Because we found those places and organized. Well, take that to the rest of your life. Organize everything. Start using technology in ways you didn't before, right? Start using planning systems, organizing around, using project management software like you didn't before. Communication software like Slack, or, it's like there's all of these wonderful tools that are available that, damn it, just learn how to use these and start getting your life so buttoned up and clean. There's a wonderful way to work called agile, being agile. And I always coach teams to be radically adaptable. You need to be constantly waking up and saying, what do I need to change? Because sometimes we get on a path and we just stay on it too long, and the market's changed. Nobody wants it anymore, but we're still on that path, right? And like, imagine, your global education business, if you had just clung to that, right, like an anchor, it would take you under. But instead, you're like, okay, I see what's going on in the marketplace. I'm adapting, right? And here you are, and here we are. This is part of your adaptation. Well, that adaptability needs to be a system. I think right now, things are changing so radically that every week we should stop and say, are we doing the right thing? Are we in the right business? Does the market still want this? Right? And that's what your team around you should challenge you in that sort of agile fashion to keep pivoting and keep moving and keep advancing.
Well, I think it's so crucial for people to have, if you don't have a group of 5, I love that concept. I think it's amazing. I'm actually going to start my own now based on what you're sharing. But just
invite me. I'll show up for one.
Huh?
Invite me. I'll show up for one.
Perfect. I love it. It'd be amazing.
Co-elevation group.
Yeah. Like having an accountability partner, like whatever you're wanting to do, like, okay, I really want to start this business. I want somebody to hold me accountable. Okay, great. Within 24 hours, what are you going to do? Within 1 week, what are you going to do? And just to have them keeping you accountable. Because I know for me, my vision of wanting to do this summit, terrified to get behind a video, I was telling you earlier, and I was telling my coach, and I was just like, oh, there's something in there. I'm just terrified. And he goes, I want to see a video tonight by the end of the day.
Right.
And I go, oh my God. And it was like, that was enough for me to have to push through that fear. And thank God I did that, because otherwise this summit would not exist.
And by the way, what an impressive endeavor on your part. You're such a North Star shining example of what anybody can do. Anybody can do it.
Yeah, and it's just, it took one person to hold me accountable, because he knew what my end result was. And he's like, you know what, that's it. And so having that accountability partner, getting to this place of where it's at now, just about to release the summit. And it was uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable, and days where I was exhausted and tired of reaching out, and, but when you've got somebody, like Keith was saying, when you've got somebody who cares about you, not in a soft, mushy, gushy way, like, oh, but like, I know you want this, and I am going to make sure you get it. And it's going to be uncomfortable, but I am going to push you, and we are going to make it together.
Right. And that's the kind of leadership we all need, and we all need to be. That's the kind of leadership we all need to be.
Yeah, very powerful. And it just takes one we all have one person to just be like, hold me accountable to.
Well, it just starts with one. And by the way, that person might let you down, and that person might not be the right person. And then it's the next person. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess, the big lesson here is there's never been a better time to reboot your life, right? And to look at your dreams, look at your goals, look at your aspirations, and then to go on a journey to co-create the right plan and path. Now, if you're already running a company and you're pretty passionate to that company, then same thing. I have brought in partners to my business recently that I'm not paying, that I am engaging with because I'm serving them and them ideating their businesses, and they're serving me and my ideating my businesses. We're complementary in terms of what we do. You know, like I opened this new website called FerazziLearning.com where I'll put my courses up. I didn't know anything about courses. I didn't know anything about them. I really didn't. But then I've got all these friends that I have found and been such great friends of mine, helping me think about things like internet marketing. I wrote a book about networking. I have always gained my leads and generation of new revenue through networking, right? I have never once received it through marketing. I mean, certainly I get inbound requests for me as a speaker or something because of my notoriety from the books, but I never put out marketing campaigns, etc. We have pivoted, and in 2 months, we got 38 leads in the last couple of weeks. 38 leads. This is totally new to me. I've never, and by the way, and I've had to go out and hire a salesperson because someone's got to qualify those leads and close them. I can't even do that. This has all happened in 2 months in a market that is, the shit hits the fan. And I have been able to pivot using this philosophy and be able to grow a business from scratch. Wow. From scratch. It's been amazing.
It's possible right now. I mean, literally anything is possible. There's
possible
for innovation, right? This is the time for new adventures, and there's truly, I believe, a lot of magic in the air. I mean, I think the energy that's moving and what's happening, and it's shaking everything up, and it's opening up possibilities like we could have never imagined. I mean, I've got my daughter who graduated from college on Friday, like, Mom, I don't know what to do. There's no jobs out there, whatever. And a week before she graduated, she's like, you know what, Mom, I think I'm going to build an app. The girl was like, I'm going to work for corporate America. I'm going to work for somebody. And now, like, it's opening up this whole new world for this not just the younger generation, all of us.
Yeah. We've got to find a way to serve the world in ways we hadn't imagined before. And also I have to say, I was thinking about, I was doing a webinar this morning and somebody asked the question, it's like, how do you find opportunity when opportunity isn't there? What's your advice for young graduates? And I said, listen, you pick the company you want to work for, the person you want to work for. You reach out to them and say, I want to serve and I want to work for you. I don't need money right now. I just want to serve and I want to work for you. And I want to prove that I can create enough value that someday you're going to want to bring me on board. But if I don't, that's my fault, not yours. Right? It's an elongated interview process, but what else are you going to do? Right? Sitting at home playing Pokemon or whatever you do. I don't know. But you're going to use this as a leveraged opportunity to be of service. And, a couple of people have done that with me. And, some instances it didn't turn into something long term, but it has turned into something long term for others. So we've got to stop asking how to look. Fear and scarcity, right? Create a level of behavior that makes us small. And if, on the other hand, we believe that by being of service, we will tap into abundance, then we will find great things. And that's really the lesson. And that's the lesson it's a lot more detailed and a lot more programmatic in the book, but that's the philosophy. If you want that, it's available to you today.
And that's great information and advice for
Thank you.
Many, including the younger generation. And we're going to have a speaker who's bringing to, the platform a bunch of, these 20 somethings that's so great for them to hear that, because it's something that they wouldn't think about, right? Like, oh, I gotta wait, or like, no, you don't. And serving is a form of currency, right? Just like money. And it's
exactly
like,
right.
It all moves around. Like, you put it out there and it all comes back. So I think that's great that you shared that, because it's something that so many people would not even think about.
My pleasure. Well, thank you for having me on here. I'm really excited to watch these as well and be on the receiving end.
Yeah, it'll be great. Everybody who's speaking on this is just bringing something so amazing to the table, and so many different levels. So, any final words of encouragement and support for anybody out there who needs to to, have some words about being courageous? Just
You don't have to find the courage in yourself. You need to ask for it among a group of people that agree and commit to give it to each other. There's enough of it out there, and you don't have to do this alone. You can be a leader of a peer group that fundamentally makes a difference in everyone's life around you, and creates new opportunity. That's the intention of Leading Without Authority. And it's available to you, and it's abundant. Just start with one, as you suggested. Just start with one. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. I would love to hear a little bit more about your book, if you want to share on that really. You said it just came out.
Yeah, it just came out. Leading Without Authority. I haven't even personally gotten the hard copy, hardback in my own hands yet. So Leading Without Authority, and it really is a 23, I think, CEOs of significant organizations, small unicorns, as well as the biggest, most respected organizations like Amazon and others, say that this is the new operating system for a post-COVID world. I'm really excited about it. The testimonials have been extraordinary. The reviews have been great, and it's a fun read. But I certainly didn't know what was about to happen, but we're now living in a world where you've got to create your own abundance. And you create that through having a vision and a goal and a network of people to support you. And how do you manage that network? How do you make the world around you step up and join you to create great things? And that's Leading Without Authority. And looking forward to your feedback when you read it. Let me know.
Yes, Keith, I can't wait to get my hands on a copy and read that. That sounds
Thanks, Tracy.
really powerful. Yeah, perfectly good. So we have a couple. I know Keith has a free gift that he's offering through the link that'll be on the email that's sent to you. So can you kind of explain what that is about your remote?
Yeah. In 2012, I did a ton of research. 2012 to 2016, I spent $2 million researching remote teams, remote work, remote leadership. And during that period of time, I published, 20 some studies in Harvard Business Review, Fast Company, Magazine, Wall Street Journal, etc. I've aggregated all those resources. How do you live in a remote world? And I put them on virtualteamswin.com, virtualteamswin.com. And you'll be getting that. So hopefully that's of interest to you, and you can find some good resources there. Hopefully that's helpful.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for your generosity with that. That'll be very useful for everybody. And then as far as paid offers, you've got some coaching services, correct? And then your book that's available as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've already gotten the advance on the book, so I'm not making any money for the extra for each one I get. But it's a transformative book, and it'll transform your ability to step up and be even more of a leader than you currently are in the world today. So, Leading Without Authority, Amazon, everywhere it's available. We've launched a number of virtual courses at Ferazzi Learning, ferazzilearning.com, that it's the wisdom of 20 years of this work, and how I would sit in front of a camera and look at you and give you in 10-minute modules the coaching that you need to reboot the way you're thinking about your leadership in your life.
Perfect. So is there a set cost for that, or is it different packages that you offer for that?
Yeah, there's different packages you can see on. I think it's $500.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Keith. This has been amazing, valuable information that you've shared, and super excited about your book. That is,
thank you.
Like, how crazy on the timing, right? Like, you did not anticipate the timing of this.
No, sometimes things happen at the right time. Look, I mean, I'm an Italian by heritage, and there's a lot of suffering going on in this world in lots of places. And so, taking a moment to honor and respect that, and not minimize it, but there's also a lot of opportunity being created at these times. So the question is, are you on a momentum of old momentum that has been arrested and stopped, or are you an individual that has the capacity to reinvent with the people around you to create something great? That is, to me, there's going to be a lot of opportunity, a lot of wealth, a lot of repositioning happening in the world, and I hope you're a part of that.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make those changes happen. Everybody, you have got it in you, and we believe in you. You believe in yourself. And in the
Yep.
meantime, be courageous. Signing off with love and light. Thanks.